everyone. Andrew McWilliams, the CEO of our company, the one and only. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being so sweet and jumping on here and hosting this like you do. You do a great job, and I appreciate you so much. And I'm praying for you and Wayne this past week. I know it wasn't easy. So the great news is we got a new week coming up, and hopefully you feel the love from Revital U. So thanks for being on here. Guys, I'm not going to be long. It's Sunday night. It's the middle of the holiday season. I get it, but let's talk and let's keep it real tonight. So everybody kind of sit down, get a quiet place. I promise I won't waste your time. But get somewhere where you can really focus on the words coming out of my mouth, because this is one of those conversations, one of these talks that I'm going to give it to you straight as a brand influencer from my years and years of experience, decades of experience as a brand influencer, and going through all the ups and downs and all arounds that happen emotionally and mentally when you're a part of a journey like we're doing right now at Revital U. And I want to do that in a way that is impactful to you, because here's the reality is that we have such special timing going on right now. This is one of those times where it would be easy to go one way or the other. It would be so easy to overdo it, and meaning that you work so hard, you work yourself right in the ground, you burn out because you realize the bigness of the timing. And, you know, we launched in September. We're already doing millions of dollars a month in coffee sales. Commissions are going up. People around the company or you're watching their company, their groups explode. And so you don't want to miss it. So you're working yourself, maybe even worrying yourself into the ground. I get it. That's one way. Another way is where people don't understand how big this is because we are new and maybe you've never been through something like this before. And so you're going to approach it the way most people approach direct sales, which is as a hobby or a real part-time business. And therefore, you know, I can see on the horizon one of two things. One thing is either you're gone and you quit eventually, because most people do when they approach it that way, or it's going to be regret that when you look back and go, wow, they were telling me and I just didn't listen about how to do this. Either one of those is bad, right? I mean, either one of those hurts and it's painful. It's just one of them is painful in a way that can prosper the business. The other one is, you know, where you're going to sit back and go, I should have done more. So let's talk about how to manage these things. Let's talk about what's going on in the company. And let me bring up a couple things right away. First of all, I realize that most people getting started with Revital U do it when they're already pushed to the max in their life, meaning most people don't have enough money. They're getting by. And I'm not saying, look, you might make, you know, $25,000 a year, $250,000 a year, somewhere in between, a little bit more. It doesn't matter. If you're spending all of it, you're living paycheck to paycheck. And the majority of people in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, and the Western civilization around the world, in the parts that we call the civilized world, that have the advantages of that, they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it's a few people at the very top end of that scale that are truly free, or people that have created residual recurring incomes. So I know that's what attracts a lot of people to our business, because, look, let's be honest, unless your name has a trust fund attached to it, you're going to have to find a way to earn your way to that type of income, that type of freedom. And so we come along with Revital U, and we enter into your life, and you hear it at a presentation, or maybe somebody sampled you the product, you drank it, it had a result, so you thought, I never do these things, or I'm going to do it now. Or maybe you were just looking, somebody who was out there just searching for something, and here comes this opportunity of a new company. And but it doesn't change the fact that you're already what I like to call redline. That was right with my son in the car, and we were, you know, I was going fast, so it redlined on the RPMs. And he said, Dad, what happens if you don't shift it right there? And I said, well, the engine eventually will blow up. It's really bad for it. It just means that you're at the maximum for that engine, and it's not built to be run at the maximum there. Even when you take off in a plane, they'll say you have to have, they'll take the weight of the plane. I'm not trying to get a physics lesson here, but anyway, weight of the plane, how fast you got to get on the lift that's needed to generate. And says, okay, you're going to need, 7,000 pounds of thrust. The engines will do 12, but they'll set 100% at 7,000 because that's what you need. Then it does, but if it had to do all 12 and run it there to fly, that would not be a very safe flight. And it's not safe in life to be redlined with your energy and your focus. And yet the majority of people I run into are already running around crazy in life, whether it be, their jobs or their careers or their lack of money, which causes stress, which causes a whole other can of worms, where they're trying to escape that stress, or it's kids, or it's just information that's just bombarding them all the time. And now we come in and we're like, hey, let's throw one more thing on top of the pile. Let's try to operate a business now where most people, the majority of people that certainly get started in Revital U, do not have that skill set to own and operate their own independent distributorship and be a brand influencer with us. And so we have this time frame when someone starts to get them successful enough to where they believe they can do it on a bigger scale before they'll go, no, this isn't for me, and I quit. And this is truly where we're different as a company. So listen up now. I know it's getting a little out there, but just stay with me. We, as a company, have designed this so that anyone, and I mean anyone and everyone, can actually be successful here when they first start in the company. Meaning that if you sign up, you pay your $49.99, you get your 8 digital samples, send them out. Even if you don't follow up, we follow up with you and for you, and we're seeing customers come back from that activity. That's that short-term, hey, I want to make some money. Go get 5 customers in your first 30 days, and we give your money back that it costs to get started, right? You earn $50, you can say it, now you've earned your money back, right? So great. That's a common thing. If you were going to open a ice cream store down the road, you'd want to see, where's my break even? Where can I actually go out and make my investment back? Well, with us, it's very simple, but that's just the beginning. Now people are in this world where they're hearing big numbers from, this person's making this person's got 4,000 people here, and this person's went, global brand influencer in 6 days, and this one went, and everybody gets all these crazy, and here's a big word for tonight, expectations of the business. But here's the reality, is that very few people, and there are some of you out there now, actually understand how the comp plan works through and through. Very few people have ever had any experience with building an organization that brings people into the business and gets customers and managing that and how it goes. Very few people in our company have ever made any real money in direct sales. So we have come along, and why this is happening, why we have this kind of phenomenon of our own happening right now, is that because of the simplicity of the beginning, because anyone and everyone knows they can sample, because we have a product that was designed, was created to be sampled. Think about this. Well, before we ever had a comp plan, before we even had the name of the company, we had the beginning of our product, where we were creating that product so that it could fill the purpose of being sampled. And of course, it has to deliver on the promises made, but it's also got to be sampled. So here we have that, and that is so basic, and it's working so well that we're proving what we thought would happen, which is that people can come in and take that first step. But to go to the next step, to actually engage and build and start to build a life-altering income, there's going to be steps along the way that at times are going to feel very shaky. And what happens is, as people get nervous, they get afraid, get frustrated, when they send in tickets because they're looking for help on a comp plan they really don't understand, that they have these incredible expectations of, because why wouldn't they? That's what people promote and talk about all the time, is how you can make such big money and so quick and everything. So new people or people starting say, well, why am I not making that big money? I should be making that. And now I get emails and texts from people all the time saying, not all the time, but I mean, when I do get them, it's people saying, hey, can you help me with this? I thought I should have been paid this, or I wanted to get paid here, or I think you guys owe me money. Do you know that 99% of the time we don't? It's just a misconceived, an expectation that they had that I don't know how they picked it up, but they did. Therefore, to them, that becomes their reality. And so now we have a missed expectation, which creates more frustration, which creates a person going, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought it was. But instead of them actually following through on that and saying, let me get my skill level up, let me dig in deeper, let me really learn how to do this, they usually say, well, this company's not being fair. They didn't ship product the right way, or they didn't pay the right way, so I'm out. And God forbid that they ask around to other people. So it's kind of like the blind lead the blind. Guys, this is my world I'm talking about. This is exactly what happened to me when I started in my first company back in 1994. Scott Postico, coach, comes along and he offers Amy and I this incredible opportunity. We get started. We had absolutely no idea what was happening externally, meaning we didn't know the company was beginning momentum, that they went from 31 million in sales to the year we joined. So 1993, they did 31 million. 1994, they did 150 million. 1995, they did 500 million. 1996, they did 1.4 billion. I remember people saying, congratulations, Andy and Amy, you're top 100 earners and the fastest growing company in American history. And we're standing there like shaking people's hands, taking pictures going, what just happened? We don't even know what is going on. Like it did. And I didn't know that I was swept up. I wouldn't even call it momentum. I didn't know what it was. All I knew was that the people I had brought in, my friends, were angry at me about the business. People that I had led into the business and signed them up were saying that I didn't know what I was talking about. Let me give you an example. So we were a telecom company. We were long distance. And so the natural thing is when you signed up with Excel is you took their long distance. And back then, and this is how life has changed, when you signed up a customer, they had to sign a piece of paper. You could mail it in or fax it in. And majority of the time we mailed them because it just seemed to work better. We'd mail them in, and it'd be 60 to 90 days after that they received it before the switch would take place. So somebody would get in the business, and we'd say, you need customers. Just like today, customers are what drive the business. And somebody would sit, and it'd be 60 or 90 days before you see that customer even show up, or you start to forget getting paid on them. That was 4 months to 6 months down the road before you could actually get paid. So it was such a pain in the neck. What happened was that 10 that you would send in, this is when I was first starting, 10 that I would send in, like 3 or 4 of them would just be lost. They would just go into the funnel of nowhere. And so you would call into rep support. And rep support was a long distance call. And I was waiting on hold almost an hour a day minimum. It's actually more than that. I was looking for my journals from that time, but I remember it being even more than that, but I don't want to say that. Just almost an hour a day on hold with a long distance company. And so I had people quitting, and they would come over to my house, and they couldn't just walk away or say, hey, this didn't work out for us, or I didn't put a lot of time or effort into it, or I got excited and I signed up, but I shouldn't have because I had no intention of doing anything. It was, Andy, this company's scamming us. They're a long-distance company, and they're just charging us all this long distance while we wait on to hold. And I thought, holy mackerel, and I would feel my energy, my little energy being sucked out of my body, and I would start to panic because I would think, am I the only dumb one that's really believing in this? And here's what was different. At the time when I got started, I had an example of success. Scott Postico shows up at my house, and he says, hey, here's what we're doing, and I find out what he made the month prior. And he didn't tell me there, he told me after when I was already in the business, but I knew that he had made a couple $1,000s a month prior working part-time. That got me so excited. But then I went to a training with these big speakers, and I listened to them talk, and I was in the back, and I was trying to look cool, y'all. I'd sneak in late because that's just my style, and I would stand in the back, and I would try to leave early, and I'd act like it was no big deal to whoever was around me. But inside, I was dying. Inside, I was begging for help. Inside, I was like a caged animal going, I want it so bad, but I have zero idea how to do it. I didn't even know what direction to turn. But because I would listen to them with these incredible stories of their life and how they grew their business and the struggles they went through, all of a sudden I would recognize that they had gone through similar things and had made it through. And so I committed myself because I don't know if it's just naturally who I am as a person or it was just God's will for me. I just believed in that abundant mentality. I wanted it so bad to be able to live that dream that I seeked out those kinds of stories. I seeked out that kind of training. I started reading books on it. I even joined other network marketing companies, not to work the business, but to get their trainings that they would send. I had one good friend of mine. He went to Amway at the same time I went to Excel back in the 90s. And even when I was making hundreds of thousands a year, he was still making nothing. But he had the best training that I had ever seen. So I bought tapes from him for years. I bought those tapes. I read John Maxwell books and wrote and annotated them. More time my kids look at it now, they think, Dad, how many times did you read this book? I said, as many times as was needed. Let me say it again. I had kids, my kids ask me again when they look at these old books and some of the new ones, they said, Dad, how many times did you read this book, Developing the Leader Within You, or The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or The Power of Focus, or whatever it was I was reading? And I said, as many times as was needed. Because what I realized, and now when I look back, it's like crystal clear. You know how hindsight is? Crystal clear. You know, at your job, where you work and you have experience, if you do have experience, if you're any good at it all, you know things now today. You've evolved and how you do that job. You know tricks of the trade, or you know things. Well, that's how it is now when I look back now on network marketing. I go, oh my gosh, the one thing I did so right was, even though I was being bombarded with negativity, even though I had challenges myself, because I was naturally shy. I'm not shy. That's the wrong word. Y'all know I'm not shy. I was timid. I didn't want to be confrontational. I know some of you won't believe that now today. But I naturally wanted to please everybody. I was a jokester. I wanted to make everybody laugh. I didn't want to get in somebody's face. I didn't want to fight for myself in this. And I certainly didn't want to be rejected. I was an athlete, so I was used to people telling me how great I was. Not that I was that great, okay, let's be honest. But anyway, that I was always a good athlete, so people would tell me how great I was, and Andy, you're so smart, and all this. And so the idea of somebody telling me no literally petrified me back then. So I would go, just for me to talk to somebody about the business, just for me to say to somebody, let me do a presentation for you, let me take you to lunch, let me sit down with you, was like the biggest step I could make as a person. And so I had these natural things that were going against it. I had the business challenges that were on top of it. And so I knew, and instinctually, or by the grace of God, I knew that I had to have some form of positive reinforcement happening more than the negative that was happening. And I say that to say this. If you're in our company today and you're frustrated, which some of you are frustrated, I know some of you can't believe the checks you're getting. Wait till you see some of the people that are on this call right now. You have no idea that your check grew 30 or 40 or 50% this month from last month. Some of you are going to find out really in a kind of a harsh manner that you can't shut the jets off once you start making money in the company, because your check might go down. Other people are wondering, how do I get a check here, right? But all of you have to realize there's made such progress made along these ways that somebody joining the business today has a completely different perspective about Revital U than somebody who started in August or September. The majority of issues that we have when it comes to checks or attitude, or somebody feeling like they did not get what they wanted from us or missed expectation, comes from that August, September, October time frame. And part of it, okay, let's be honest, I'm the CEO. It's my fault. So part of that was me just trying to be a good, empathetic and saying, I love you guys kind of CEO, where I said, hey, I'm going to extend this and I'm going to extend that. Well, that's not easy. When you have thousands of people joining the business in a month, and you've got tens of thousands of customers coming in, and you have all the logistics and all the different ways that people get paid in a normal compensation plan, and we were transitioning from one comp plan to a new comp plan. We had new back office being done, new shopping carts, all the things. And then I come in there and I say, okay, we're going to extend for another 3 weeks this one and 2 weeks this one, and yes, we'll pay on this. And it just is an absolute nightmare logistically. Now, we have gotten it right 99% of the time. I mean, nailed it. We've paid, I don't even know now, millions of dollars out in commissions already. So we know we've got that going for us. But for the few people that haven't, guess what? They make noise. They start telling their upline and downline and sideline, Revital U, I think they owe me money. And you say, well, I always ask the question, why do you think that? And then people are like, well, I really don't know why I think that, because I think I saw a version of the comp plan that said that. And I'm like, okay, why don't we look at it? But the reality is that they make so much noise, but they're not making noise, and they don't even know. The reason why it feels good to make that noise is because it feels like a very real point to just focus their energy on, and all the emotion of the moment, all the wanting it so bad, and all the it's not happening like I thought, or I hate the negative people around me, and I don't want to be one of them, but we got to take care of this, because if we don't, it feels like the whole world is crashing in. And I want to address that moment. I have all this to say. that I can help you get through these moments. I get emails every day from people asking for things, but rarely does somebody say, Andy, help me believe in the company. But that's what you're really asking about. Here's what's great. Here is something that is like, hallelujah, it's hope, it's turning the lights on in a dark room where you can't find your way around. It is the answered prayer for some of you. It is the what you've been waiting for, and that is belief is chosen in most areas of our life. I mean, what you believe in is a choice. It's not a lightning strike where you go, I'm going to believe in Revital U because they just paid me $5,000 and I don't even know how I got paid. Nope. It's going to be you saying, I believe in the model, it makes sense, and I choose to believe. So therefore, I'm going to fight to have more positive belief than negative belief. I know it doesn't sound very sexy. It doesn't sound very like much fun when in our business we talk about it, people changing their life and living this incredible lifestyle stuff. And here I am talking about just having more positive than negative coming. It just sounds horrible, but that's the reality of the business because there are logistics involved. And look how perspective works. If I told somebody that, guys, send in your coffee customer signing up today, and in 60 to 90 days, you'll see it show up in your back office, and you'll get paid in 4 to 5 months from now. People would think I was scamming. I would get arrested. I'm sure somebody would shoot me. I don't know what would happen. It would be so unthinkable. That's exactly what I started my business because we didn't know anything. It was our perspective was, at least we have an opportunity, right? Well, today, in the way we do business, everything's at our fingertips, and it's immediate, and it's instantaneous, and you can see somebody losing weight on Facebook. You can see somebody making money if you go to a meeting. Everything is right there for you. And so it's navigating all that information in a way that is going to be very intentional in building your belief because you have to choose to believe. Here's what I know, and here's what I want you to hear from me. Is that we want to pay money out. We want it to be where you have abundance. Our model works when more people are making more money. That's where it works. It means if we're paying out the money, if people are excited about it, it's why every month when the checks come through, I add money to the pool because I'm like, do this, pay this, do this. Pat's like, let's do this. And we start adding money because we know we've been around this business long enough to know that little bit extra, that little bit more than you thought you're going to be paid can mean so much to your belief. And so when something misses or something goes wrong, you have to fight the urge to allow that to destroy your belief because I looked up something for this conversation and I was looking up how do people decide what to do on a day-to-day basis. Like I look at our business and I am so in tune with it now after all these years and all this intentional studying and focusing on my why. And I think about my why more than probably any other person you've ever met because I realize the power of that's what created all the good in my life financially has come from my why when it was crystal clear and powerful in my mind. Well, so I started studying, how do people make these decisions on what they do? Like when you know that you should sample out products, but you leave them in your purse or in your backpack, or you don't take them with you into the mall, or you just stop calling people back and you just find 25 reasons why you don't have to do it, right? Because you come up with excuses. It's why I am not exaggerating when I say this. I watch people fight harder to tell me what Revital U did wrong than they fight in creating their income for their families. I'll say it again. I watch people be more passionate, more focused, more articulate, just going for it and telling me how we did something wrong or something we missed. And when I watch them build their business, they're the exact opposite. They're non-confrontational. They don't make a stand. They're only doing it every once in a while. It's very, if I got time to do it, I'll do it. And it's a decision-making process. So I looked it up. Here's the basic definition of decision-making in the process, right? Decision-making is the process of identifying and choosing alternatives based on the values, preferences, and beliefs of the decision maker. I'll say it again. Decision making is the process of identifying and choosing alternatives based on the values, preferences, and beliefs of the decision maker. So let's quickly, and I won't be all much longer, let's quickly go over this. So three main points for somebody to make a decision to engage in their business, a decision to believe in their business, a decision to be a positive force for their organization, a decision to keep going forward, even though when people quit or people tell you how they were so wrong and they point to why we were wrong, and it's so easy to believe, but you choose not to, and you keep going forward. Or a decision to keep pouring the gas on, even though you're making more money than you thought you'd make after 2 years, but you're making it more after 2 months. But now you're in trouble because your number, and everybody has one. Mine, when I first started, was $10,000. That was my number. When I say my number, what I mean is the number that shuts your jets off. I was so fired up about my business back in a few months in, I hit 10,000 in a month. I'm not kidding. It was like somebody took my ambition and just chopped it at the knees. Okay, it's gone. All of a sudden, I was fishing and golfing. I just found other things to do, and I didn't even realize it back then. And then then after, you spend so much time like that, especially if you don't save for taxes, all of a sudden a year goes by and I had to pay taxes. All of a sudden, I was like, okay, well, 10 doesn't work anymore. I got to do 25. And I started working again, and I started working towards it. So I realized in my business and in my life that number, when you hit it, it's scary. It's really a scary number. So keep it moving. And real wealth is a moving target, because the more you get, I think the more you'll give if you're the people that I know. And so let's look at right now how we can all get there, but in a systematic way, how you can help yourself and help others in this thing by understanding the decision-making process. 3 things that people look at. Number 1 is values. Values, I believe, are already kind of taking care of themselves, meaning that you're here because you either love the coffee and the benefits it provides, and you want to share that, or you want to help other people make money while you make some for yourself. But it's that general value of giving back and that kind of lovely spirit of it that permeates Revital U. It's what we want to keep here. So let's just assume our values are the same, that we're not trying to just screw people over. We're not just trying to steal money from the company or other people, or it's not just about sales. Those aren't our values. So let's say we all match up on values, and that's a big one. So let's say it's there. That's just preferences. Now, there are preferences, and this is going to sound ridiculous to some of you, but some people prefer to stay exactly where they are. I had one husband and wife tell me, and no uncertain terms, they didn't say it exactly like this, because no kind of normal person would, but this is what they were saying. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't, meaning that the pain we're in is better than the pain we don't know that could come from trying to build this, stepping out of our comfort zone, changing up our routine, starting to mix it up, and going down a path that might not work out like we would want. It's scarier to them than just being in pain. Isn't it crazy? And it's not crazy. It's exactly what most people are doing. They continually stay where they know, what they're used to. Over 40% of our daily actions are habits. I tell people all the time, they're habits. If you're living a habitual life, you're probably not making much money. You're certainly not meeting your potential. So we have a chance to do something different together, and you have to know at times, because it's different, it's not going to feel as relaxing or as secure at times that it does when you just do what you already know. So therefore, if somebody starts feeling that way and they go, oh, okay, I'm getting anxiety about this, or, it's not working like I thought it was, or God forbid something challenges you or hurts you emotionally from it, somebody quits that you thought was your best friend or so close to you, or people start ganging up on you because, they all perceive one thing and it didn't happen. And it's so easy to say, I prefer to go back to that crappy lifestyle I was living rather than chase something better because I really don't believe I'm going to make it. So I prefer that. So you have values, which are let's give back. Let's give, you make enough, earn enough, create enough for you and your family that you can give to other people. Those are the values. Then you prefer to do that, to say, let's go create it. Let's go build something big. That's the decision making. What are you going to do? Where are you going to see it? Last but not least, and this is, I think, maybe the most crucial piece of all of this puzzle, even though there's so many moving parts as you're kind of getting a handle up. Don't worry, I'll wrap it all up in a minute. Last but not least, it says, and so based on the values, preferences, and beliefs of the decision maker. Now, beliefs are where it gets really tricky, because I want to tell you something. I never really believed I was going to make that kind of money that I used to stand on stage and talk about. So when I had hiccups, or I had problems, or people quit the business, or I sabotaged it by not doing certain things even though I knew I should have done that, sign up early and then promote events, or, pay money to go to this event even though whatever. There was just so many things that I didn't do that I should have, that I knew that when I look back on it with hindsight, I could say that was sabotaging, and I didn't even know. But what it was is because I didn't believe I was ever going to be one of those people. Not really. The difference is that through educating myself, through going to trainings and exposing myself to different parts of the business. Let me give an example. So I got a chance to fly on this plane. It was the vice president of the company of Excel. He had his Gulfstream something, and here I am 24 years old, and I'm walking around the plane like an idiot. I remember I got on the plane first. I was flying with him for a few days to go to different meetings, and I didn't know where to sit, so I'm like, do you have assigned seats in a $30 million plane, or do you sit where you want? I mean, so I looked at it, and they had all these different newspapers from all around the world, and I'm getting on the flight attendant was on there, so they had this flight attendant. She's like, can I help you? And I said, well, ma'am, I don't know where I should sit. She goes, well, you can sit anywhere you want. And I said, well, where does he sit? Where does he sit? She goes, why don't you just sit where you think you're most. She must have thought I was the biggest idiot. But then I sit down in this one area where they had a couch, because I just thought it was so funny. There was a couch on this private plane, and so I sit back on the couch, and I look in the restroom towards the back of the toilet, and it's got gold on the fixtures. And so I'm like, wait. So I kept looking back there like, is that? So I go to the restroom in the middle of the flight because I just wanted to get up and go back there. Like I want to say that I did this, right? And I go back there and I look at the fixtures and I'm sitting. So I come out and the guy says to me, he goes, Andy, you all right? And I said, well, is that real gold? Are those real gold? He goes, well, they're real 24 karat gold on there. And I said, on your toilet handle? Like, what? It blew my mind so much. I just remember laughing about it, and he thought I was stupid for laughing about it. But for me, it was a leap forward into in an area I never would have expected. I remember that one of those nights we were eating dinner, and there were probably 50 or 60 people eating dinner, and the number one earner and the vice president were sitting. I was sitting at their table, and I'm listening to them talking. I'm like, they don't even talk like me. It was like there was a different language what they were just talking about. And then the bill came. The bill was $4,000 for dinner, and I remember them fighting over the bill. I was laughing to myself so hard, thinking that is more money than I would make in a month, or I would ever thought. In bartending, it would take me months to even afford dinner with these guys. And they were arguing over it. And the one guy was bringing out cash to pay, and the other guy's like, use my Black American Express card, and they're going, and they were literally angry at each other. And I was thinking, just don't hand that check to me. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't even want to pick it up. It was so mind-blowing to me. But you know what it did? It injected right into my soul when you see that, like, it opens up another part of the belief. I was like, wait, when I heard their stories about what they went through, when I heard their perspectives, when I heard their friends had quit, when I heard they were frustrated at times with the company, when I heard, and that they kept getting up and going back to work, and they kept going forward, they kept driving it forward. When I heard those stories, it allowed me to start to see that was the key to survival, to literal survival. Think about it like oxygen. If all you're getting is bad, negative oxygen, you're going to cough, you're going to sputter, you'll never be efficient, you'll never be fast, you're never going to be strong. But if you consider that's the negative stuff, if you get the positive stuff and you start adding to it, you watch how your life will change around. You combat it, you fight it. Tell people to go away, guard your energy, guard your belief. These things are absolutely vital to you being successful here. I'm saying all that to say this. I've watched the first, we purposely, Pat and I, you guys are probably figuring out that somebody said to me the other day, said, how did you know we were going to need Leslie Zan at that, how did you know, I had probably 5 people going to say, how did you know we were going to need her? Because we booked her, a month and a half, 2 months ago. How did you know that? And I said, well, somebody's going to figure out, we know what we're doing. When you look at our model, you look at our company, you look and see where we're going. Wait till you see 2018. I mean, talk about going off the hook. It is going to be so crazy because, and I'm saying this the same way I said it last year about 2017. I sat with rooms full of people in December of 2016 saying, if you'll stick with me, if you'll stay the course, if you'll fight for this, you'll be a different person a year from now. And the people that did all of them, people that stuck it out, there were only a few, because it wasn't easy to see. And it was so easy not to believe it based on other factors. And so it's deciding, it's that decision. But I'm watching right now in December, I'm watching us. We double mentor bonus. And I'm watching the majority. I can see who's working. I can see it like it's like just reading a book. Okay, this group is working. This group is not working. This group's sitting back. This group is complaining. I can see what leaders are upset about what. I can see what leaders are on vacation or going on holiday. I can see what leaders were overpaying, meaning that they feel like they've already made more money than they thought they were going to earn, and it's cooled their passion. I'm listening to people planning January, but they're skipping right past December, and I'm watching the company and how it reacts. Now, we are so great at the company. I'm telling you, like, we're a year ahead of where we had put in our pro forma, almost a year ahead from where we thought we were going to be. Not where we thought we were going to be, where we knew that we could be, and said, okay, this is good, better, and best, right? And so we're trending towards the best version of what we thought could happen. But we were prepared for the good. We were prepared. One thing we would not do, and nor will we ever do, is sacrifice the integrity of what we're doing. Nor will we ever push it so hard that people think this is just about the money that you can earn up front. This is about creating a different lifestyle. And you must choose to believe. You must choose to have a different perspective, a perspective that says, you know what? Things are not perfect, but they're so much better. And the progress we've made and the clarity and the purpose and everything that's coming on board and the company that's being formed, evolving right in front of our eyes is exactly what I signed up for. This is exactly what I prayed for. It's exactly what I wanted to do something different with. And then, guess what? I know it's not going to be, but as you watch 2018, either you're going to be on the side that I'm talking about, or you're going to be the side of the person that was privy to this information, that had this timing, that then said, I'm going to wait until they get this done, then I'll engage. And you're going to find out, like everybody else, that timing, once the timing's here, it's too late to maximize it. I'll say it again. Listen here. This is decades of experience talking. Once the timing is here, it's too late to maximize it if you're just starting. Meaning that when Fort Myers, Florida in 2001, 2002, people that were already doing real estate, that had worked hard to build a clientele, that had companies of people, they had assistants, they had systems, they worked with closing agents, they worked with title companies, they knew the market, they knew the areas, the neighborhoods. Well, when we went through this big run in 2002, 3, 4, 5, they were the ones that made millions of dollars. Now, every joker, every Tom, Dick, and Harry like me jumped in once it was obvious to the masses that great things were happening. Okay, great. And we made some money, but nothing like the people that were there before that timing hit. That's where you sit today with Revital U. As big as we are, as much of that's happened already in this short couple months, we're still at the beginning of the beginning. But if you are doing anything less than waking up every day and thinking from your family, friends, people telling you, okay, Andy, you got to find some time to do something normal. You are such a maniac. Susie, you are going so crazy with this business. Come on, let's go on a date night. Hey, you got to remember, you got to get more sleep than you're getting. If they're not telling you that, you are not understanding where you are in this company. And I'm not joking when I say this, because I don't care if anyone and everyone on here said, I'm out, I'm gone, I quit. Pat and I have said from day one, we are going to build a company that represents today's technology, the amazing science that can come from it, and more importantly, the human spirit. People that want to be here, knowing that our integrity is on the line every day. We've had more transparency and more communication about stuff that no other CEO or president would talk about in our entire industry. And you know why? It's because it's self-evident we're different. It's different. No, in the history of our industry, somebody combined direct mail and direct sales like we have with these samples. Nobody's ever had a product like ours. Nobody's had the product lines we have coming. It might blow your mind. The announcements we have, from operationally to our videos that are coming, our systems that we've been talking about, our trainings. We even have a big announcement about a corporate field development person. Wait till you hear who's going to help you build your business, who we're bringing on to help you on the daily battle of what you're doing. This is all the beautiful part of the business. Now choose to immerse yourself in it. Stay here. Stay in this moment. Fight for it. Create it. And then help somebody in your organization see it too. Turn the lights on for them as well. Let them know that negative feeling or that worrisome or that stuff that comes about, if they feed it, it will eat them up. It'll tear them down. That there has never been a company that's wanted to pay more than we want to pay. There's never been a company that will do more to correct a mistake than we will. This is who we are. This is your chance. This is not a time to find the negative. Stop with the excuses.
You control it. You are the one that's in charge. This is it. This is the one you've been waiting for. But just got to show in your actions. Matter of fact, what I've seen people come in and treat this in a way where they're saying, okay, I really believe, but here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to target my action. I'm telling you, never, not once has anybody ever radically changed their income or their life ever by doing targeted action. It takes massive action. It takes you being willing to spend time and effort in places that don't work. It means investing in people that don't care. It means putting your butt on the line over and over again until you figure it out. And that takes time. And we're evolving with you, but this is the one. This is the time. And if you're spending days thinking about it and you're not taking action, you're going to miss it. If you're thinking days and all you're dealing with are missed customers and somebody owes me $100 and how did they not get this? If that's all you're spending your time, then you're going to drown in that negativity. You must choose to take massive action. The decision-making process is right in front of you. I just told you how it works. Break it down. Work on it. Decide to make it count. God bless you guys. I hope you have a great night.